Georgia and Alabama played a game of three halves, kind of. It started off with Bama getting so hot, coming out so hot, putting up a number on Georgia in the first half. Georgia came back with a right hook and took the lead, which no one thought was going to be possible. They ended up taking the lead, and Alabama came back, won the game, and what was one of the best college football games I've seen in a minute here. At least it's up there. In my opinion, it's probably in the top 10. It was an amazing game. Gets diminished a little bit because there's 12 teams now in the playoff, not 4. So it just doesn't matter as much as we might see this matchup 2 more times on the season. It is possible now with the SEC championship game and then 12 teams getting into the playoff. It is very possible to see this matchup 3 times this season. I get it. It was a fun offensive game, but I think the real problem we need to talk about is the defense in this game. This is one of the worst defensive back games we've seen in a while. From an Alabama-Georgia game combined, it was abysmal. Alabama was pretty close, to lose, having a defensive breakdown and losing this game. Like, if it wasn't for Ryan Williams, who's an amazing player, making that big time play, there's a chance, I'm not saying they would have, but there's a chance Georgia wins this game. And the story that's happening right now, if they do, is what a defensive breakdown just happened for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I think it goes right on DeBoer because he's such an offensive genius, such an offensive guy, that I think the defense is going to suffer a little bit. And this secondary is not good for Bama. It's not good. And it's actually pretty concerning, a little bit concerning if you're a fan, right? Especially you got to go and play Tennessee on the road. That is now a monster game, and Tennessee could throw it with the best of them. That's gonna be a little tough. And you got Heupel who can scheme up great plays, right? Alabama Crimson Tide DBs, they're young, right? They're 5 stars. They got all the talent in the world, but they're just young. True freshmen are back there. You got redshirt freshmen, sophomores. They're young, right? And I think that's the problem. And I think Bama's hoping they're gonna get better as the season moves on, as time goes on. But I've seen it too many weeks now where this secondary does something they're not supposed to be doing. Whether it was versus Western Kentucky, whether it was versus USF, whether it was versus Wisconsin, they were leaving guys pretty open downfield. There was guys really open in this Georgia game, and these are guys that aren't, whether it's Western Kentucky, whether it's USF, whether it was Wisconsin, these aren't guys that were like first round talent out of these teams. These are guys that should be running wide open all the time. And I think Western Kentucky, USF, Wisconsin couldn't get the ball to them. They didn't have the talent to get the ball to this and expose this. But this was a known fact in the Bama defense that the secondary is the worst part of this team. And it showed at the back end of this game. I think if Carson Beck didn't throw that early pick, where obviously it was a miscommunication with the receiver on some kind of screen pass, he kind of threw it at the spot. He wasn't there. Easy interception. If he didn't get so rattled, Beck looks so rattled in this game. I've never seen Beck that rattled. And I think it happens. You go to Tuscaloosa on the road, you're down already by a lot, they're going to rattle you. All right. He went into half, he came back a much more calm demeanor and was able to arch a comeback against this Alabama team. If he didn't get rattled to start that game, I think Georgia wins this game, just surely off of the fact that Alabama couldn't really cover that well. I mean, you start the game, they start out the game with a bomb. It went right through this receiver's hands. They should have been in the red zone to start the game. Georgia should have been. I don't know. I think Georgia's defense gets a little bit of a downgrade for me. They're definitely not the best unit in the country anymore, and I don't think should be in anybody's eyes. I don't think in my eyes. And Bama, I think Bama's got some trouble. Got some things to work on. If I'm Texas, I'm like, no way that team's number one in the country, but they are. I think Ohio State now is a little more confident about what they can do, because we all know Ohio State can score with the best of them as well. And I think Tennessee, Josh Heupel, has done this before already with a Hayden Hooker quarterback. He now has Nico and a very star-powered offense to attack this young, inexperienced secondary for the Alabama Crimson Tide. This game becomes massive. I don't think Tennessee is a sleeper in that game. I think they can go in there and win. They could rip the field goal post down if they want. Bama's secondary Keep an eye on it. It should get better, but will it is the question. They better be working on this a ton. Should Bama. We will find out what ends up happening here shortly. Ultimately, my name is Josh Wissey. Please hit the subscribe button if you've made it all the way through. Yeah, thank you.